Hi, my name is Simone Rankin Reed and I'm the Zen Mommy. I'm here to help you with spiritual awakening and ascension and guiding you through the healing of the mind, body, and soul. Today I want to talk about accepting the fact that you are a creator God. Now, on your journey to the infinite self, I studied Stuart Wilde. He talks about how the first step is accepting that you are God. That you are, that you have to internalize God, even if you grew up in a religion like me, like Christianity, or you have a certain faith. You can still, be a part of that, and you can be a part of that faith. You can still believe in that faith, but instead of worshiping Jesus Christ as an outside figure that is controlling your life, you internalize God and you find Him within. I'm prepared for their I thought that might amuse you guys. Why are we creator gods? First off, let me just stop right here and talk about how it was so hard for me to accept myself as a creator God, or to call myself a creator God, or just say the G word and that I am one of them. Because you go around saying you're a God, you're a creator God, people think you're crazy. People be like, oh yeah, she thinks she's God. Even my one video, light workers are messenger of Satan, when I talk about that minister talking about these light workers calling themselves God, turning people away from God. Well, it's really not that narcissistic when you're calling yourself God. I mean, if you really look at it from a oneness perspective, even in the Bible it says, God says, I created mankind out of my likeness and my image. And it also says God is omnipresent and everywhere in the Alpha and Omega. Now, in the law of physics, no two particles can occupy the same space. So therefore, if God is omnipresent and everywhere, therefore we are occupying that space. Therefore, we are God. And so in my last video, another play. And in my last video, I talk about the water analogy, right? You see this whole lake of water right here in my backyard. Now, there's no point of separation. It all looks like one, right? So if we take 2 cups out of it, or let's take 1,000 cups out of it, right? Therefore, each cup is now an individual cup. And let's just say each human being is an individual human. See, the only reason why we're separate is because the illusion here in this reality. According to Tesla, everything in the earth was, thought, vibration, and frequency. And so basically we're not really seeing everything, but we're seeing everything is a different rate of vibration. So like touch and feel, even what you see visually with your eyes, is all vibrations. And so therefore, also there in the law of physics, there's no defined edges. So we're seeing this experience exactly how we plan to see it. So therefore, when you take 1,000 cups of water, each water is individual. Now, the water may be separated, but as they all go into one. So let's imagine each cup is a different consciousness, right? So now we think that we're like this whole separate individual, but after this body perishes, we die, our souls, we no longer have this whole separation piece here. So let's imagine dumping all those 1,000 cups back into the water, okay? Your soul and your consciousness still exists, but you realize what you haven't remembered all along, and maybe you have, that this whole body of water is you, okay? And so you have to understand that the human mind is very limited on what we understand in this earth. The brain is very, very small. I guess because in the morning time, maybe more planes go back and forth. Maybe this was a bad idea to do this subject right now. Let's see, I'm going to lose my train of thought here. Let's see, where we at? Separateness, consciousness, blah, blah, blah. So basically, we have to accept the fact. So basically, I'm saying all this to say is to accept that you are one with God. And in other words, you are God manifested itself in human form to have many, many different experiences. And so when it comes to manifesting, okay, so I always talk about, oh, manifesting, go to the Universal Restaurant. Well, you have to understand, why is manifestation possible? Why are we creators, okay? Even if negative things are happening in your life, this is what you're creating. So you have to understand, God is a creator. You are a creator God. So every moment of your life, every circumstance of your life, everything that you're going through is something that you have created or manifested somehow in your reality. Either you focused on it, you drew it to you through subconsciously, but however it is, we're playing God in a very limited perspective from the human body. So I guess once you begin to walk into the light and realize that you are a creator God, that you're in control over your reality, you actually have an easier time manifesting. But is it that easy to remember that you're a creator God? First of all, you have the ego. And the ego's like, nope, the ego's calculating past data. No, you're just a human being. You don't have any special abilities. You don't have any special abilities. Those people are crazy. You better, you're gonna just be lost. You know, the ego will talk to you and tell you all kind of things. So now we're up against the ego, okay? Because the ego is gonna go from day one. It started from day one, from birth. It starts calculating your experiences. It starts calculating how it starts collecting your memory to use it against you, but not really use it against you, but kinda, but to use it to help you to learn from your experiences with the amnesia, which I talked about in the last video, knowing that you were creator God. So you have to come apart in your ascension process where you realize that I am the creator of my reality, that I am one with the God force. You have to understand that the spirit is one. You have to understand that well, how would I put this? Well, for me, okay, let's just say I had my experience, right? I had one kind of semi out of body experience for a few seconds where I kind of like, I had this moment where all my consciousness came alive and I remembered everything for a second. I knew everything. And all of a sudden I began to cry and I was like, oh my God, I've been God all along. Boop, I came out of that. And after a while it became vague to me. I started thinking maybe it was some type of wild dream or hallucination, right? So the ego begins to talk you out of it, right? And so I recently had my other experience. I would never come out here in the morning again now. When I recently had this other experience, right, it was kind of like a near-death experience without dying, where basically I completely shot up out of my body into a whole nother reality. And the moment that happened, the moment that I feel like I realized the soul and my consciousness was eternal, it was the moment like I walked into my true self. It was like I met my higher self and I realized my higher self was me all along, and I realized my higher self was this infinite spiritual being, this creator God who's created her whole reality. And let me tell you something, the moment that I punched over and merged with who I truly am, my higher self, I began to look down at my reality here. I saw my whole lifespan, all of it, and I began to see, oh my God, I created all of this. I began to see everything in my life, all the signs I left for myself to guide myself to come this way. And I realized at that point, yes, okay, I am the God that is creating this reality. That's the one thing in religion that we were like, oh, you got to get saved, save your soul. But one thing I have learned is the person that needs to save you is you. You need to save your soul. And you have to understand that you have a lot more power than you think, okay? And it's the time, like, this is what this awakening is for. It's awakening to our true nature, who we truly are. And I know in the beginning, it was the hardest thing for me to accept that, you know, we are creator gods. But that moment, I knew for sure, right? Before that, I was just kind of like just saying, you know, yeah, I believe it, because, you know, we are actually creating our reality. When you start to awaken and you start to tap into like, oh wow, I have all these psychic abilities, these telepathic abilities, then you realize that you're not the only one, that everybody has them and everybody has access to it. It's just one thing about it that you got to understand. This human mind is very, very limited. And there's people, a lot of people who have these experiences, they don't know how to explain it. So they come back and they make up terms like star seeds, they make up terms like soulmates, twin flames, creator gods, when I'm gonna tell you right now, there is no language, there's no names, there's no terms for anything. And see, the ego seeks to define things, it seeks to have things defined. But see, here, we're ego based, and we're intellect based. And let me tell you something right now, the smarter you are and the more intellect you have is going to be the hardest for you to accept this reality, to accept, you know, the real reality. We've been conditioned to think that this is the real reality, but imagine you live here, what, 60, 80 to 90 years, and that is a bleep of a second. You're an eternal mortal soul. And so that's one of the things on your journey to your infinite self. You have to understand your infinite self is infinite. Your infinite self is all part of all consciousness. And you know, it's very complex, the other side. And I can't even explain it in a depth. And to be honest, I don't know everything. I don't remember everything. Like, I don't remember everything. And so like, I wanted to have like this one whole video, like really explaining everything. But the truth is, it's going to come out in every video, because, you know, what I experienced, you know, although I've been here and sometimes you get caught in your ego and you forget, I have to look back and I have to think back to that moment where I saw myself when I saw my soul, I saw my soul and I saw who I was. I all of a sudden was like, oh my God. I mean, literally, I was like, oh my God, all of this time it's been me all along. Literally, I laughed for 8 hours. Every time I thought about my pain here, I began to laugh, and like every time I was a laughter. I wasn't attached to this body. And as I laughed, it took me to another dimension, and I just rejoiced, like I was just floating and I was everywhere, and I was everything, and everything was me, and I felt everybody's consciousness within me. It was the purest, the most wonderful thing. And all of my pain and all of my fears and sorrows was gone. And I was just like, wow, I can't believe it. I took my memory away. This actually works. I kept thinking that. I kept saying this actually worked. I'm telling you. And then I come back and I tell people, and people know who've had this, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So nobody's told me this stuff, you know. I saw this, I felt this for myself, and that's why I want to encourage people. I want to share it, and I'm going to try to make every video about sharing stuff that I learned and stuff that I am guided to help with. And you know, I share my experiences to raise the vibration of humanity, but I also see the whole mirror projection aspect, because when I'm talking into this camera, I'm talking to myself. And when I go back and I listen to it, like when I had that ego talk, I was in my ego that night, and when I listened to that video, it like helped me. And like sometimes, like that's how I really see the big reflection it is all. When you understand how we are all a reflection, how when you're projecting on somebody something that you feel negatively about, that you're basically talking to yourself, because guess what? That person is yourself. It's another aspect of you manifested in human form. You are a creator God. So I just wanted to leave you with that message today, is if you haven't already got it in your mind already that you're a creator God, this is something you need to deeply consider. And I understand you're going to have to put the hang-ups behind, because from day one we were programmed into this reality. And from day one we were conditioned to be limited, to not believe in who we truly are. But now is the time of the awakening. And now is the time of the awakening and ascension. And you know what? it is time for us to be on our journey to ascend to our true and infinite self. And part of that is beginning to acknowledge you're a creator God, and beginning to understand that everything in your life is something that you have control of, that you have manifested or created in one form or another. And if you don't like the situation you created, get to work and start creating again. All right, thank you for watching. Peace and love. Namaste.